It's about time to retire, find a different job. You're not a journalist. You don't qualify even to be a mother.
Wow.
Piers Morgan puts two people on this panel. One of them fought Hamas from the inside for a decade. The other built a career calling that man a traitor. Mosab Yousef knows exactly what is coming. He gets called a spy and a sellout. Abby Martin brings the talking points. Yousef brings the field. Watch her kite Marwan Barghouti as a peace activist. Watch what the man who helped jail him says back. This is a debate about who gets to define reality. Let's get into it.
Mosab, I'll get you to respond to what Abby just said, but just your response to that interview with an Israeli government spokesman, because I got to say, I found that pretty stunning, that he would be so certain how many Hamas terrorists the IDF have killed, but admit he had no idea how many civilians have been killed, given that it's the deaths of the civilians that is getting Israel so much unpopular reaction around the world.
Because we cannot send Israelis to Rafah and to dangerous zones to collect statistics and count the numbers. It's a very dangerous zone. Israel is looking from the outside. And also, who said that Israel is only responsible for the killing of Gazans? Mostly Hamas responsible. First of all, for taking human shields. Second, their booby traps. How could you differentiate the death that it was caused by an airstrike or by a Hamas death trap? How do we know the difference?
Well, yeah, but the
point
I would make,
people die. Listen to me. All this moral, Pierce. No, listen to me. All this dilemma, you're going with your whatever morality. This is war. In war, people die. You need to wake up to this reality, accept it. Stop this denial. We are in the face of savages who hijacked an entire society. This is a very difficult war. No other army can do the job, and I'm not willing to risk thousands of lives of foot soldiers to deal with this type of savages who hijacked the entire society. 100,000 people could have died. Israel is doing everything they could. Don't reduce it to the point, do you have statistics? Who cares?
90 seconds in, and Yousef has flipped the whole question. Morgan wants a civilian count out of Rafah. Yousef asks a fair question back. How do you separate an airstrike death from a Hamas booby trap? Then he says it plainly. This is war, and in war people die. Morgan does not enjoy being told to wake up. Watch him reach for his brother's tours in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Well, actually,
Egypt,
no, I think you're missing my point.
Authority,
yeah, Mosab.
Jordan,
all right.
The Arab world don't want Hamas at whatever cost.
Mosab.
Whatever it costs, we want to remove Hamas from power.
Okay, I understand that. That's a different question. My point is why...
Do you?
Well, why does... My question is this for you. Why is it that, if, as you say, Israel has no way of working out who's being killed here, and I know all about war. My brother served in wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. My brother-in-law served in wars. My grandfather served in wars. My uncle served in wars. I don't need a lecture about what warfare is, but I do find it surprising that Israel's official spokesman, months and months into this war, is able to tell me immediately how many Hamas terrorists have been killed by Israeli forces, but admits he hasn't got a clue how many civilians have been killed. And I'm sorry, I think most viewers will find that stunning. You say Israel's no way of checking, but they seem to have a way of checking how many Hamas they're killing.
Morgan lists the family war record. Brother, brother-in-law, grandfather, uncle. It is a real point, and Yousef takes it head on. He says the spokesman was ambushed by a gotcha and had no numbers ready. Notice what that argument is not. It is not a defense of anybody's casualty figures. Yousef keeps dragging it back to the one thing he cares about. Hamas leaves power, or none of this ends.
Listen, it's Israel's responsibility to know the death of their own citizens. This is their responsibility. I think your question was absurd. This is why you put him on the spot. He was not prepared for it.
I didn't put him on the spot.
Going to change the reality on the ground. The reality on the ground, Hamas must go. The only side want Hamas to stay is the Iranian Ayatollah, and for some stupid reason, Karen in America wants Hamas to stay. But the Arab world, let me tell you something, Jordan, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, the majority of the Arab world, we are Arabs. I am Arab. We are not Palestinians. We don't want Hamas. We don't want Islam. We want Islamists out of power.
Okay.
It's as simple as that.
All right.
They have been killing Jewish and Arab children.
Right.
This is not your game. This is not her game. It's not about statistics.
It's not a game.
It's about doing the correct thing of removing Hamas from power. End of the...
There it is. The Arab world wants Hamas gone, and Yousef says it as an Arab. Jordan, Egypt, Saudi Arabia. Then the line that will get clipped everywhere, Karen in America wants Hamas to stay. Morgan is not letting that stand. He pulls out a Saudi Foreign Ministry statement condemning the Rafah operation. Fair challenge. Watch Yousef answer it without blinking. And watch how little he thinks a press release is worth.
As we speak, the intelligence services of the Arab world, all of them in a joint operation room with Israel to rid of Hamas. I don't care about some politician trying to make a political statement. It's false. The reality on the ground, we don't want Hamas. We don't want Islamists. We don't want this anarchy, this revolution without a moral compass. We don't want to globalize it. We don't want to bring it to the United States. The game is over. Hamas is out and their death warranty has been issued. It's a finished job.
All right,
and we are going into Rafah and we are going to eliminate every last...
That is the answer to the press release. The intelligence services of those same Arab states are sitting in a joint operations room with Israel. Statements are for the cameras. Operations rooms are where the real position is. Then Yousef closes it out. The game is over. The death warrant is issued. Rafah is next. Morgan turns to Abby Martin. She has been listening to all of this. Watch how she opens.
Okay, let me bring in Abby. Abby, you've been listening to this. I mean, fundamentally, I understand why Israel and Israelis want to eliminate Hamas completely, because this is a terror group who are wedded to the eradication of Israel and everybody in it. In fact, they have reiterated publicly through their official spokesman a desire to commit as many October the 7th as they can. So I completely understand why Israel wants to get rid of these terrorists. The question is, how do they do that without killing many, many more civilians? And as we saw from the Saudi statement, there are many Arab countries now in the region increasingly concerned that if there is a full attack on Rafah, which has 1.5 million people, a lot of civilians are going to die.
Morgan sets the fairest possible version of the question. Hamas is a terror group that wants October 7th again. How do you remove them without killing more civilians? That is the question on the table. Remember it, because Abby Martin is about to answer a completely different one. She goes straight at the man, not the argument. Count how many seconds pass before she gets to Mosab's career instead of Rafah.
Right, and you know, to your point before, I think the death toll is actually vastly undercounted, considering how we have not even began to excavate the bodies under the rubble. So I would say that the death toll is a vast undercount. As far as Mosab's point about Hamas, I think that, you know, Mosab is the Palestinian who hates Palestinians. He's developed a lucrative career being able to lie about basic facts about this conflict. And so when he says Palestinians or Hamas, what he really means is all Arabs and all Muslims. In fact, I've seen that plain as day in his social media and talks. He thinks that all Muslims are terrorists. And so, I mean, this is credited to the point that he is actually credited to jailing what is called the Mandela, the Palestinian Mandela. Marwan Barghouti. This is a guy who he put in prison 20 years ago, who was marching side by side with Israeli peace activists denouncing Hamas killing civilians. So again, I mean, when we're looking at someone who's worked for Israeli intelligence, who spouts the same rhetoric as Israelis, who say Hamas, but what they really mean is all Palestinians, I mean, it's really hard to debate someone on the fundamental reality and the principles of, you know, the facts of this conflict. Now, to your point, Piers, about what should they do about Hamas, I reject
70 seconds, and not one of them was about Rafah. It was all about Mosab. Her charge sheet: he hates Palestinians, he lies for money. Then, the Barghouti card: Marwan Barghouti, peace activist marching with Israeli peace campaigners. He is serving 5 life sentences for murder. Yousef knew him before he had power, and he is about to say so.
the premise of Israel's genocide. I'm not going to sit here and say, yes, Hamas is a terrorist organization and they need to be eradicated. Of course, that's not true. And I think that we can both agree.
What do you mean that's not
it's
true?
An impossible task. It's not true that something needs to be done about Hamas. I don't agree with that framework and the parameters of that debate.
Why?
Because Israel's been committing ethnic cleansing and genocidal policies against the Palestinians for 70
But Hamas
plus
literally
years.
has
and
a
as
charter.
I reiterated
But Abby,
before,
hang on. Hamas literally has a stated charter of the elimination of Israel. That is the purest personification of a publicly stated policy of genocide
that's not
I can
true,
imagine.
That's not true. Their revised charter says that they actually recognize the existence of the Israeli state among 1967 borders. That's the revised charter, and they actually make a political differentiation between Zionism and Judaism.
So
That's
when
the
their
actual
official
charter of
spokesman,
Hamas.
so when Hamas
you keep pointing to a random spokesman.
Watch the pivot. Morgan quotes the Hamas charter calling for Israel's elimination. Martin does not deny it. She upgrades to the revised charter of 2017, the friendly one. That is the move. When the founding document is indefensible, cite the rewrite. Nobody in Gaza was ever governed by a public relations document. And she still has not answered the question Morgan asked. What should be done about Hamas?
Spokesman for Hamas, and he said literally 2 weeks after October the 7th, we are going to do this again and again and again. That is an existential genocidal threat to the existence of everyone in Israel. Clearly. Said publicly on camera. I mean, he's brazen about it.
Look, I think that when you're comparing one guy and his statement to literally
He's the official
dozens of
spokesman, Abby.
genocidal statements. Okay, but look at the official spokespeople of Israel, Piers, and look at the actual genocide they're committing. You cannot compare the two. It's a complete false equivalency. One guy is saying one thing, the other dozens of Israeli ministers and cabinet officials and public media personas on TV are saying one thing and actually doing it on the ground.
You would allow Hamas to stay in power?
On the ground. It's not up to me, Piers. Hamas is
What's your
representative of a large sector.
You've been expressing many opinions.
Okay, but here's the thing.
What's your opinion?
Marwan Barghouti is the most popular unifying figure in Palestinian society. He would resoundingly win in an election against Hamas. So what this is about, this isn't about Hamas. This is about eliminating every faction of Palestinian resistance, peaceful or not. It is not about Hamas.
It's all about what Hamas did on October the 7th.
But Piers, I think we both know it's not. Because what is the military occupation founded upon? When did Hamas come into power? We know that this isn't just about Hamas. What was Israel doing in the West Bank the year prior to October 7th? They killed 500 Palestinians, 80 children. This is ethnic cleansing. This is a military occupation. As long as you have these policies in place, you will never get to the root of the violence, Piers.
Morgan asks it 4 times. Would you allow Hamas to stay in power? Her answer is that it is not up to her. Then Barghouti again, then the West Bank, then anywhere but the question. That is not an answer, that is a change of subject. And notice the false equivalency line. One Hamas spokesman promising October 7th again gets waved away as one guy. Now Morgan hands the floor back to Yousef.
Well, this is Abby's desperate attempt to discredit me. I'm a man of the field. I fought against Hamas as part of legitimate intelligence organization, against savage group that were targeting civilians in suicide bombing attacks, waves of suicide bombing attacks that they killed people indiscriminately. So Abby today want me for some reason to apologize for saving human life because my truth challenges her convenient truth. Abby does not have the authority. She's just a self-appointed low-grade journalist. How can you be a journalist and you call this a genocide, ethnic cleansing, and she just keep repeating ethnic cleansing, genocide, colonialism, etc. None of it is real, including Palestine. It's only in your head. None of it is existential. Palestine was never born. How can you free it? It was never there. It's just a colonial entity, and some people choose to make it into a national identity. And this parrot has been just repeating Hamas propaganda. Marwan Barghouti that she's talking about him, she never met him. I knew Marwan before he got to power. He is a criminal. He killed 5 people. He has blood on his hands. He cheated on his wife. He has a secret son that he never revealed it to the public. Of course, I can criticize him, and I can criticize all the criminals that I know personally. She's been there only for a visit, and maybe she had some falafel sandwich, and she really was blown away of the Palestinian experience. There is no such a thing as Palestine. It's about time to retire, find a different job. You're not a journalist. You don't qualify even to be a mother.
That is what happens when you call a man who ran agents a low-grade nothing. He answers with the field. Suicide bombing waves, attacks he helped stop. Then he takes Barghouti apart by name. Then the falafel sandwich line, and then the sentence that made Piers Morgan say wow out loud. You do not qualify even to be a mother. Brutal. Too far? Maybe. Effective? Look at the faces.
Mosab, it's usually a public figure. If they were caught lying about half the things that they said, they would be completely discredited and never allowed airtime. You are spewing such ahistorical anti-Arab bigotry that not even the fringe of Israeli society would agree with you. I mean, not even Israeli historians agree.
I'm not anti-Arab. I am Arab. I am Arab. This is my ethnicity. Islam is just
anti-Muslim bigotry.
I am not a Muslim.
Mosab.
We are Arabs.
Mosab. Okay. Then anti-Muslim bigotry, which is frankly appalling considering that there's a billion people on the planet who would be characterized as you as, extremists who need to be used force against, according to you.
Her comeback is that this is anti-Arab bigotry. He is Arab, he says it twice, and he says it about his own ethnicity. So the charge gets upgraded to anti-Muslim bigotry mid-sentence. Watch that switch, because it is the whole tactic. Criticize Hamas, get called anti-Arab. Correct the record, get called anti-Muslim. Nobody ever has to answer for what Hamas actually did.
And this lie must die. This is why I don't like what Abby and her likes doing by trying to delegitimize Israel. She's trying to discredit me. Who gave you the authority? How dare you?
You are a
I'm
spy. You're a spy for Israeli intelligence, Mosab.
It is not funny. It's not funny. Your tale, your false narrative need to stop because you are creating chaos. Listen, Abby, you are bringing chaos to the United States and you will be held accountable. You are just a criminal like them.
Sure. Okay, Mosab, you can't be taken seriously and you're not legitimate because you have worked for Israeli intelligence to out your own people. But listen,
sooner or later you
can't discredit
realize
my reality as well. You can't discredit my reality as well. I was in the West Bank. I had assault rifles pointed at my head from a 17-year-old American from Palo Alto. That's an occupation.
You are in my domain right now.
That's a military occupation.
Okay, you are in my domain. When you come to my domain, you have to pay respect. You have to respect all the effort that I put to save human lives, and you cannot reduce that.
There is the whole debate in 90 seconds. Yousef says Palestine was never a state and produces his own Jordanian birth certificate as evidence. Her answer is not a counter-argument. It is a label. You are a spy. That is what you say when the man in front of you has the receipts. The next 20 minutes run through equal rights, human shields, and body counts. More of the same. Then Morgan gives Yousef the last word.
Listen, naturally, if the Israeli protocol is not sufficient and it's not satisfactory to the expectations of Abby and many of her friends, then I say, how about we punish Hamas by their own laws, by the Islamic law? Why don't we follow the Islamic protocol? In this case, the Islamic law says, behead all men and take all women and children as booty. This is their moral stand. So she say it's asymmetric. Well, we already know that. It's a very dirty war. We are dealing with people with the mentality of the 7th century tribalism. It's not an easy mission for a democracy, for any country, for any modern army, for any civilized society to deal with this. So we need to be reasonable. I understand If people are anti-war and they are pro-children, pro-life, me too. But sometimes we have to make very difficult choices. And Israel was really pushed to the corner. Israel is fighting for its very existence. I am fighting for my very existence. I did not kill any Arab. I did not kill any of their tribesmen. But they want me to cease to exist. Why? Because I criticize their religion. I criticize their stupid ideas that are leading towards global chaos. And instead of spreading the narrative, the victim narrative, what we need to do actually, we need to localize it, not globalize it. And we need to be reasonable of our expectations from a democracy in the middle of
26 minutes of talking points met one man who was actually there. That is the difference this debate exposed. Abby Martin came with charter revisions, historians, and a peace activist framing for a man serving 5 life sentences. Mosab Yousef came with names, dates, and a decade inside Hamas. One of them argued about Hamas. The other argued about the person on the other screen. And that is where this whole conversation is stuck. Until people can say out loud that Hamas must lose power, nothing else in this conflict gets solved. Did Yousef expose something real here? Or did Abby Martin have the better case? Drop your thoughts in the comments.